Um, Welcome back to the very last segment of today's almost getting better. And here's more evidence for me. I led this whole thing up relative to this whole division thing with Destiny Rising, New Week, New Exotics for a whole month straight, explaining how I wanted things to turn out. So all the people who are trying to imply that I haven't set the tone or the narrative based on how I want it, and then they have these kind of things happen, you're criminal. Like the people who are just arguing against it, it's like you're so criminal at this point because I've said it over and over and over. I don't know what kind of ignoring strategy game that you've been using up to this point, but it lost legally in a legal justice system, every justice system, internationally, domestically, universally, in the God's mind. In your God's mind, I'm the winner. That's basically what I'm trying to say. In your God, in whatever mind your God occupies, I'm the winner. It doesn't matter. You can't escape it. You can't jump from mind to mind because every mind occupies all the minds that you occupy. Well, occupy Wall Street. How about occupy a psychological mind? So your mind, I occupy it. Alright, I'm just going to quickly finish up here these loot, some of this loot. And I'm going to take a quick break, and then we're going to do Bad Robots, Music, Extravaganza, Journey, Willy Wonka, who knows. And that's why I don't understand, like, you could have reserved it for the music stream, and it would have been better because at least the music would have been playing. Instead, you want to do it for this. I don't want it either way, but if it's like, if it's like choosing between two bad options, it's like I'm going to choose the less bad option. How you like that? Alright, long story short, I'm one of the most wealthy, powerful people in the world. I created colleges for adults, entertainment, like the adult world. I probably owned a bank or two, and I was an entertainment medium, mogul, both privately and publicly. Philanthropy, entrepreneur, etc., etc., etc. So if you really want to know how my life is going to go, that's basically it. Freedom, sex, drugs, happiness, etc., etc. Yeah, I'll try to make it, as legally protected as many people as possible. Not relative necessarily to me per se, but like to the idea of the Constitution, because I have unique circumstances, and but Thanks so much for, you know, all of the times when you intentionally try to troll people in games like it's never been done before, though. You know. Kind of like when DJs make 2 songs sound good, you know, things that have never been done before, right? So I must be different, or you just might like a really old beat. But either way, it's like terrorists. So I don't know. It's just like terrorists. It's just like video game terrorists. I don't know. I guess I won based on the ways that older anti-terror generations wouldn't fight terrorism. There just must have been ways that old generations must have not fought terrorism, and I guess I'm willing to beat terrorism based on ways that other people weren't willing to fight.
Your time is over. You're a goddamn dinosaur. Keep covered while I move. Shove them back. Let's get these fuckers. What the fuck? Protected. Get the fuck out of there!
Yeah, like communicating through people's brains by proxy, like, get a life.
Serious trauma detected. Agent deceased.
Faggots, man. Hey, faggots, surprise, motherfuckers. Surprise, faggots. Hey, look, I got them all in the circle shirt. Hey, everybody, look, it's a faggot circle shirt. Hey, faggot circle shirt. Get trapdoored. Get trapdoored and backdoored, faggots. Oh my gosh, how many different ways can that apply? Oh my gosh. I'm gonna say all the things that can apply in a million different ways. Oh, generic. Generic. I beat you with 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 generic. Huh, I beat you with generic. Ha, faggot. I win with generic. Just like Brookers. Just like Brookers beat you with generic. I beat you with generic too. Haha, faggots. Who's the butterfly now? Yeah, well, you all don't have enough time for the type of therapy that you need to resolve your problems. I don't know if therapy can save you, because I don't know if there's enough therapy to resolve your problems, to be honest. I don't think there's enough therapy for you all. You guys have too many problems to be resolved through therapy. There's too many problems. You all have too many problems that therapy cannot solve for you in one lifetime. It's just a fact.
Serious trauma detected.
Not one, nothing. Hey everybody, we've got something called brainstem warfare. It's where people are told that they don't have control of their own brainstem to make them seem weak and powerless. So basically all they want you to do is seem weak and powerless because they're also... Well, here's how I figured it. What happens when weak and powerless people want to be dominant? I mean, this is basically it. Weak and powerless people, when they want to be dominant but they can't, they need prey. They need something that they can abuse that they don't feel morally guilty about. That's why I think the criminal world is the way that it is. Because the criminal world, a lot of the times, is dominant, but it's dominant for the wrong reason, right? Right. So the criminal world is dominant, right? And then when the criminals become the criminals and like they do the whole thing, it's like they're submissive to all the people who want to be dominant but are too fucking stupid, pathetic faggots to fucking ever be dominant on their own. So they take the fucking weak ones relative to circumstance. So the faggots use people who are weak relative to circumstance, not to actual dominance. And that's when you start wars. You start wars when you start using people who are circumstantially weak, but not actually weak. So that's how a non-dominant person becomes or pretends they're dominant, is when they dominate people who are weak by circumstance. Weak by circumstance. So for example, the criminal world, weak by circumstance. How do we know this? Because first, they're criminals. They're tough, they're strong, they're criminals, they take advantage, they control, they're the dominants. Now, if the criminal is rehabilitated, the criminal is weak. Not because they're weak by circumstance. So what can a person who is weak by what can a person who is weak and not dominant, but who wants to be dominant but can't be dominant, what do? They pick on the person who's weak by circumstance. So the people who are pretending to be dominant but can't be dominant because they don't know how to actually be dominant, they look for the people who are weak by circumstance, just like that.
What the fuck?
And that's the battle. The battle is trying to create weakness by circumstance. Now, some people try to create my weakness by creating fake legal circumstances, and I am making myself one of the wealthiest people in the world because they thought they could beat me. So they thought they could beat me, and I created my wealth, my fame, my glory, because they thought they could beat me based on the perception of a weak circumstance. Homelessness. That's what homelessness is. Homelessness, the perception, doesn't mean it is weak, but it means it can be weak, and it has been used to make people weak. That's what homelessness is. Homelessness is a situation that are made people look weak by circumstance. Now, I've dominated and used my weakness, and what did they do? They created fake legal scenarios, fake crimes to try to make me look even weaker. And what did I do? I dominated even more. So I have dominated under all of the circumstances in which they try to make look someone weak by circumstance, just like in this video game. And just like in this video game, I beat them with my fucking words of fucking truth and my words of non-religious, the non-religious words that weren't created by God or religious people. I know I use the word God a lot, like they sent, like, you know what? I would say the same thing about Santa Claus, and that's how I view God. I view God, and I say I view God as Santa Claus because it's the best version of God, right? Somebody brings gifts and joy. But I don't think Santa Claus is real, but I think the idea of Santa Claus is meant to, represent something. And basically that's what God is. The idea of God is just an idea. It's not a real person, just like Santa Claus isn't a real person. What it is, it's your parents. God is your parents. Just like Santa Claus, God's your parents. So just like God, just like Santa Claus, your parents are doing things trying to put presents under the tree or coal under the tree. Now, here's the problem. When you have parents who want to put presents under the tree versus coal under the tree, it creates this something called, tension between different families who have different expectations on how to live freely and happily. And, families get mad at each other, friends get mad at each other, and you're like, oh, I got this game, or I got this Xbox, or I got this PlayStation. Basically that old game, which we've solved in America. It's called get over it and grow up and build, work and build your own life. But when people are fucking with your ability to make an income, it kind of like reignites an old flame to be answered a different way relative to the drug argument that couldn't have been won 20, 30, 40 years ago, but now can be won because of the timing of policy and legislation. I won. This is part of the Animus, I guess. It's not how I always want the Animus to be, but ranting is part of the Animus. It is. I don't want it to be rant, but if there are things to rant about, and I feel and deem they're worthy of being ranting about, then I don't want to rant about it. Rather just be delicious, good, cozy, awesome, good times. But when these people are complacent with my non-religious attitude, they sabotage me. So every time I, as a non-religious person, apparently have a positive representation of a non-religious life, the religious people become terrorists. So it's just, how many times do the religious people have to sabotage a non-religious positive storyline in America before they realize that they are the terrorists? Because when you realize it, that's the thing, you have to realize you're the terrorist. I know you're a terrorist, other people know you're a terrorist. What you have to do is you have to realize you're the terrorist terrorizing me based on a religious doctrine storyline that I don't ascribe to. I ascribe to a non-religious freedom independent storyline relative to the success and freedom I want as a person. So I don't understand why you all don't understand it, but I'm reminding you once again. And, oh wait, look, you understand it. Maybe I just have to pretend like you understand it for you to understand it. Is that what you have to do? Do I have to say things pretending like you understand them for you to understand it? Okay, fine. Oh my gosh, my enemies understand how badly I need housing and money and income. Even my enemies understand it. My allies know it, but my enemies understand. My enemies understand that me having money actually makes their lives better and more free. Wow. Is that how I have to talk? I just have to talk based on how I want things to go when they're not going the way I want them to? What happens if they go the way I want them to? Am I allowed to celebrate, or do I have to stay quiet so my enemy doesn't know when something I want it to go a certain way goes a certain way? But these are all the factors that go into all your decision makings, right? All the things that make a person wonder to themselves while they're making decisions, thinking about making decisions. But that's what you want to know. You want to know how a brain multitasks like this. You want to know how the brain can play the video game while also talking out loud about such cognitive, philosophically important things. But how does the brain work like this, right? Ooh, wow, science, technology. Here, I'll give you a hint. It's called electrical and chemical communication. I'm going to give you a spoiler alert to where my thought process was being told to think of earlier today. It's basically going to come down to drugs and terrorism again. And what's the difference between drugs and terrorism? So basically, at the end of all of the jumping through the hoops, the argument is going to come down to what's the difference between terrorism. I'm going to tell you why.
Good job.
It's going to be based on this. First, it's going to be based on them timing how often I do things like vape. Let's say I vape marijuana, right? They're going to want to time how often I do it and relatively when I do it, right? Now, this is where it's gotten really interesting. I'm a big marijuana supporter, proclivative, right? But I'm not 420. Like I don't push the 420 narrative, and there's a reason for that. It's because the 420 narrative is like anti-drug people and like cop now. It's like a festival that has been overrun by anti-drug people and cops. So all the 420 narratives, they're actually like anti-drug and like cop people or like new drug people who are like new to like marijuana, like, oh, 420 marijuana, I totally get it now. But they don't get it yet because it's like they'll get it 10 years from now. Well, I don't know. 10 years from now, we'll have federal legalization. So maybe they're lucky with the timing. Maybe there is a 420 narrative that plays out well relative to a positive drug storyline. I don't know. But it really is true. It's like it's anti-drug and it's law enforcement. Now here's the thing. All the law enforcement really isn't against the drug thing. It's really the anti-drug people. So what the drug people did was they brought the law enforcement and the firefighters, they brought them into the drug community to prove that the anti-drug people were terrorists. And the cops believed them for the longest time. And that's the truth. So there's actually a fight between the drug community, the marijuana community, the law enforcement community, the fire community, and the anti-drug people. It doesn't matter where you're from, just the anti-drug community, wherever you're from. America, international, space, aliens, it doesn't matter. So it's like you classified yourselves as terrorists already to the people who already have been doing this for a long time. It's just like, so I'm a proclivative, I'm not 420. I don't know why people are trolling a 420 narrative with me. It's not my narrative. Can I benefit from the 420 narrative? I think everybody's supposed to benefit from the 420 narrative if you support marijuana, technically. But am I trying to tell the 420 narrative? No. I'm not trying to tell the 420 narrative. I'm trying to tell the proclivative narrative. So, happy proclivative. Yeah, gaming is competitive. I get it, and everybody wants different like ways to like make skill and career and potential for entertainment and that star power that goes from being a celebrity versus being a gamer. All right, you want to know what okay, so here's the deal. I've been using marijuana for like over 10 years, which makes it like culturally relevant and significant in my life. In addition to that, I've literally made my entertainment life and journey, not just now, but into the future, relative to the politics of policy and legislation about marijuana. So everything regarding marijuana is protected based on my cultural life. And then when you really want to take things to the legal context, then it's just a really easy game of supremacy clause overruling whatever it is that you're trying to in a hostile way ruin my life with, relative to the idea that drugs can't be used or sold or profited or made income relative to its thing, its industry. So the cops have been around this community because cops have been around the community. Law enforcement has been around the community. The federal government is more interested in weed now because the policy and legislation and change in America for marijuana are becoming federally recognized. Canada already did it. So in order for those things to happen, the federal government and the state government still need to kind of work together to get things prepared for federal change. I don't know why Canada was easier than the United States, okay? It probably has something to do with culture in America. Probably has something to do with religion as well. Culture and religion. But they want to do it correctly before it becomes legal. So consider me like I'm like in the alpha or the beta of like federal legalization. So maybe that's how some of you, because all of you who look into my public-private life that's probably created based off of a frame job anyways for people to be confused on what's going on, all of you who are looking at, just assume that I'm a part of like an alpha or beta pre-federal legalization stage of American life. Because when American life is federally legalized for marijuana, you're not going to be able to do all the things that you do. Why? See, look, who's doing the fucking screen like that? Look at it, like, why does it do that? And it's not, and here's the thing. They can do it by proxy by taking control of your body. Your body, my body, all of our bodies. That's the thing. Like, so there's other things that people should be more interested in than marijuana, like, people who care about marijuana should be more interested in the proxy electrical mind control and communication game that exists, because that's real. You used to call it God, but it's not, just like Santa Claus, it's not, God isn't real, but there's something that exists there. So there's a power from electricity and chemicals that has been battling each other relative to like static electricity or for, wireless technology. So, why don't we just assume that we're living in a technological time and age in America where we're trying to create all these awesome policy and legislations while also creating regulation to protect us and our family and friends and our individual selves, for the future, to be able to enjoy these things instead of trying to restrict it. So that's kind of like where the law enforcement community is. So the law enforcement community is like, they're under the umbrella of the federal government at the end of the day. And even though marijuana policy was a state issue, federal marijuana legalization still requires the federal government. This is where it's game over for the state. Are you listening to every state in the United States? Even if it was a state issue And I know you're going to want to use abortion as the same context, and you're going to want to be like, oh, we could always repeal it. No, this is not the same as abortion. Well, first of all, abortion's, based on your definition, kills people. Marijuana doesn't. So for starters. So marijuana doesn't kill people, doesn't kill pregnancy, doesn't prevent pregnancy, etc., etc., etc. But they're probably going to do something similar to like allowing marijuana policy and legislation to go through, and then just like Roe v. Wade, if they ever feel like the majority can like abuse people based on it, they'll probably try to rescind it. That's my best guess. So I, as a supporter of policy and legislation that doesn't want to change like Roe v. Wade, am trying to prevent that from happening. I don't want to do this whole thing and then just have you assholes rescind it like Roe v. Wade. So what you have to understand is that with all the state, every state that has done this marijuana thing, state by state, on your own, with federal legalization, you still need to work with the federal government. So even the state has to work with the federal government when it comes to this federal policy legislation thing. So if I am in the alpha and the beta of federal legalization, working with different agencies relative to this whole experiences, now do you understand why you faked your crime, though? Now do you understand why they framed my family? Because they gave us the worst narrative for relative to this drug thing, right? Now do you see what they did? They wanted the narrative that was difficult to unlock. They wanted the narrative that was difficult politically relative to the marijuana policy and legislation. They're trying to create the characters relative to the policy and legislation fight, not just now, but in the future. And I changed the narrative to remain front and center rather than being abused on the side. And I'm trying to protect my parents from being abused. Hopefully, you know, they're not being abused, you know, anymore either. And family and community and, you know, fans and collabs and business companies and like-minded businesses, companies, minded people, states, even religions. You know, religions have existed. I don't expect you all to just disappear, but, you know, if we're all going to coexist with each other, even if I don't agree with your religious beliefs, like, you've got some good ideas in there, you know. You guys managed to make, you know, delicious food at some point, I'm sure. So here's the story. You guys got to stop harassing me. You got to stop harassing the people around me. And you got to stop harassing law enforcement and government just because you are trying to exploit a criminal form of justice. Because that's what you all created relative to the past 6 years of my life. You didn't uncover a criminal and then commit justice to a criminal. You focused me. Just like in a video game, you focused me, you isolated me, you harassed me, you stalked me, you psychologically intimidated me for years and years and years, and then you created false crimes and you created fake justice to try to control a narrative relative to a future that we all knew was coming. It's criminal and terrorist. And I'm doing my best not to, you know, I'm doing my best not to assassinate everybody who gets in my way, because I just don't want to waste time. Because I don't have to waste time in this context as a non-religious secular person. So my time, you know, I want to spend it as happy as possible, not as fighting as possible. How long do you think it'll take before we finally, you know, can get through these things without kind of like all the bullshit? I hope it's soon. Anyways. Alright, let's finish this. And then we'll call it a day on the rdwingguy playthrough.
Here I am, ASAP. Hey, sorry about the tone. I'm not in the mood for niceties. The people here are driving me nuts. They're complaining that the streets outside aren't safe, but they don't want us and our guns around. What irks me is they got a point. The streets have been getting rougher. We need to go to work. Teach those rabid coyotes out there some manners.
Fair enough. How do you want to play it?
I'm thinking we'll do a simple sweep through the surrounding neighborhoods. Deal with anything we find in whatever way seems proper.
Sounds good.
Well then, enough palaver. Let's ride.
You never should have come here! Under fire! Try to flank us! Put them down! They're trying to flank us! Cover's useless now! Son of a bitch! Does anybody have a shot? I should have come here! Move into new cover! Oh, shit! They're hitting me from the other side! Cover all guys! Trying to crawl off and die! Perfect! They're spinning now, right? That doesn't work. Gotta find some protection. Solid contact. They're spinning our round.
object of interest detected. Portable electronic device detected.
That's faggot shit. See that? You know why they do that? Every time they do that, it's because they're bored and they want to hear me say, look at this faggoty shit. So basically, every time they do something faggot, all they're doing is wanting me to say it's faggot. That's all it is. So when you allow it to happen, a terrorism event is going to happen. Well, it's going to happen because of terrorism, because that's basically terrorism. It's just like, you know, I'm non-extremist, like you're extremist terrorism and I'm not. So basically, so the argument of terrorism is going to come down to this: you're an extremist terrorist and I'm not. That's basically how this argument goes. Because we're all terrorists, remember? So you're the extremist and I'm not. Because you use electricity to try to take control of people. That's how extreme you are. You're so extreme you use electricity to try to control people's freedom. So you're an extreme terrorist. And I beat you.
We got something.
Yeah, it did. I heard it. Even the game called you all faggots. You know you lost me when the game's calling you faggots too.
Portable electronic device detected.
Someone there? Here they come! Get ready! This is just the beginning!
trip, yo.
Oh, you want to know why your okay, so people want to know why their calls and texts go through? It's because I'm a son of the United States Constitution, and I grew up with the Patriot Act, and probably the United States government, in association with the National Security Agency, Central Intelligence, and military, pre-approve and authorize my phone calls. So when the government wants to, they can put a call through whenever, however they want. Well, because you're all terrorists, and they already argued against your terrorism, but because they're only the military is only a certain amount of people, and religious people represent a certain amount of people, so the military already argued against religious terrorism using like technology, but like there's only so many of them, and there's only so many of you. Right. So basically what I am is I'm a son of the United States government, Constitution, Patriot Act, who has special people watching over me because they only have the energy to donate to my life. So basically what we have is the energy.
Have a word?
The energy to donate to my life. Object of interest detected.
The money apparently is more complicated than the energy itself. So I have people who can open and close doors relative to telecoms and stuff like that.
VIP?
Some kind of genius engineer. The Freemen are hot to have him join up, but lucky for us, he's not interested.
What's his name?
Yuri Volkov. You'll find him in an apartment house on 32nd Street near 6th. I hear he's a real piece of work.
Yeah, it's real genius if you understand I was raised under circumstances like mine. Then it makes sense. My stream's not over. Yeah, whatever, no. Whatever important person that is playing out this stupid religious narrative storyline based on me slowly progressing my way through life, you know, you need to get your I need my resources, and you need to contact me, and we need to contact each other, like, you know, whenever everything's timed and narrated and right. So it's all like narrative. So here's the thing: I need income and housing. Income would suffice the housing if it's enough income, but if it's not enough income, I need income and housing. So here's the story: I need income and housing. If it's not enough income, I need income and housing. I either need enough income or I need income and housing. That's the story. Okay, so I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready for housing. I'm ready for income. You know why? Because I'm a very functional, even emotionally distressed, but I'm a very functional person. Even with my emotional distress and even with my disorder. What I'm not ready for is for people to try to use the Constitution to harass and psychologically mess with and psychologically build up like a soda can to try to make me happy or emotionally excited and then just messing with me. I don't need to be teased. So that's what I don't need. So if people are being serious, then these are serious conversations that I really want to have. I need income, enough income, and if it's not enough income, then I need income and housing. The people who are making those things possible, I'm sure we will talk soon. Thank you.
What's wrong with the elevator?
I think
And it's private housing.
Well,
It's all private housing. Unless you want to be personally responsible for the end of, the end of goodwill and charity, you know, I need private. It needs to be private. So, you know. I know you're religious people. And what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? Hello? Auto loot. Yeah, it's an example of people using distraction methods and techniques. And I'm going to tell you what a good example of distraction method and technique. It's called My Father. My father used examples of distraction methods and techniques that I think might have been done by proxy. So to all the people who use my father's brain as a proxy of an example of distracting people from a conversation, go fuck yourself. Because his life, I'm going to make sure that you are the example of why what you did to my father is bad. I promise you. I promise you.
Signature ability.
Because my dad used to do the same thing, and then and then it was like repeated like an algorithm, not a person. So whoever did it to my father, the argument's been around before him, and they installed it in my dad, and I beat the argument. So I beat an installed argument. So it stops becoming a person and it starts becoming an algorithm. And that's what you all are. You all became an algorithm just like my father. And if my father really is the, like, you know, no offense to my dad, but he could have done a lot better in this stage of the game.
Took you long enough.
But it doesn't mean I don't love him, and it doesn't mean that people like you have a right to take advantage of him because of it. And that's the problem. You try to take advantage of him because he didn't take a good enough job of himself at this stage of the game.
So what kind
So
of
you guys really fucked up trying to use his methodology, thinking that he was the way to get this far. Because my dad grew up relative to being Jewish post-Holocaust. Not many of you were.
Yeah, I went to school.
So not many of you grew up being Jewish right after the Holocaust. And that's why you're not going to be like my father. I don't want any of you to be like my father. I don't think anybody can be my father. For various reasons.
They're trying to flank us. Hit him now while they're healing. The home of the brave, the land of the free, and you have no say here. Move it to new cover. Got eyes on a bed.
I know, Freud, I know. Because you guys torture people based on their family. That's why the Hispanic community did this torture game, because they get tortured by their parents, and then their parents use them on their kids, and then their kids try to torture their parents based on how they raise their kids. It's a whole game, and it's just culturally bullshit, and, you know. So, just bullshit.
They're trying to flank us.
So it's like the cycle, every cycle of life, yeah, every cycle, whether it's shopping, drugs, exercise, religion, non-religion, money, you know, every one of your cycles. But that's why I don't believe in reductionism, I believe in emancipation. And this game of emancipation is going to come down to terrorism. And at the end of the emancipation terrorism conversation is going to be, you're an extremist terrorist and I'm not. Now in America, the Civil War was won by the North, and emancipation was won by the North and the United States. So I don't know what the argument over reductionism, I don't know how reductionism survived this long, based on the Civil War. So my argument has precedence based on the Emancipation War Act. Well, what you're all finding out is that catching behaviors is easier than changing them. And that's another joke you're trying to play out, is that catching behavior is much more difficult than changing a behavior. Yeah, but behavioral change is meant to be a joke, so it tricks you from being independent. It's literally meant to, like, distract you, though. And that's what it is. Because some people use comedy as a form of entertainment, and some people use comedy as a form of distraction. But that's the truth, though. It's like some people actually, you know, they use certain things as a form of distraction instead of the thing that's probably intended for. I'm trying to entertain people. I'm not trying to distract you. In fact, I'm so transparent. It's like opposite of a.
Those guys just won't take no for an
You know,
answer.
I'm trying to make.
Let's go
I'm
before any
transparent,
more show up.
which is beautiful, by the way. Transparency really is beautiful. Not full transparency, though, because full transparency violates the concept of privacy and confidentiality. So you need certain elements of confidentiality and privacy to accompany transparency. So when you all are trying to constantly expose people's confidential lives, that's where it feels terrorist. And as a homeless person, it's very difficult to have a confidential life without making more problems. So whoever wants me to stay homeless relative to a confidential life, I think you are contributing to some of the problem. I think the people who are... But that's the thing. I think the people who want me to have money and or housing or both, regardless of my non-religious beliefs, you're a better fit. The people who are only offering these things as resources because of religious doctrine or belief or hopes of trying to change my mind, wrong fit. So as long as you're the right fit, then things should work out.
Okay, here we are.
And no shit, Sherlock.
Tell me something. If you aren't much of a joiner, why are you joining us?
Because it's not a life sentence. I can quit whenever I want. That isn't how it works with the Freeman. They expect you to do what they want when they want it, and if you want to walk away, the severance is a bullet in the brain. No, thank you.
Not exactly a people person.
Alright. Alright. Damn it. I get too much from it. It's like the upside down. What's up, what's down? Underscore. That's hilarious. Yeah, I know. Free people keep things moving forward, but that's not my issue. Issue hasn't been moving things forward. My issue has been I'm ready. I'm capable of moving forward faster than everybody else. That's the issue. The issue is from the very start. I have been capable of moving forward faster than everyone else. Yeah, but keeping me slowed down makes the problem worse. So the actual solution is putting me in the zone of life where I am appropriate relative to my awesomeness. And I put myself in that zone pretty easily. That's what's beautiful about myself. I can put myself in my own positive zone. I guess it's other people that's the hard part, right? So when I actually like interact with real people in real life, like for example, girls, relationships, sex, movies in bed, eating together, laughing together, being crazy together, all those things. You know, that's probably where. See how they do and that's the thing. It's like people doing the radio thing from outside. It's like they think they're responsible for the conversation, but if that's the case, it's like if these people think that they're responsible for my conversation, then I take credit for their existing in the first place. Then their very existence I get credit for. Then they don't exist without me. No, but if they want credit for my conversation because they can speak into an RF radio, some kind of radio technology, wireless communication technology, and say things like pause or like stop or like halt or like end line or like failed command, you know, whatever one of those fucking faggot scenarios that they say to try to change and distract the conversation. What about the brain fart thing where they give you the information and then they blank your mind and then they wait for you to think of the information to see if you freak out or to see if they can, you know, to see how long it takes for you to think of it again, and then when they struggle watching you think of the information. That's so fun. That's like so funny. It's so funny when they're struggling trying to prevent somebody else from knowing information. Oh my gosh, the struggle that I watch them when like that's why it's funny too. It's because they make themselves look like the victim, victimizing people. That's really what I learned. The best victimizers are the ones that make themselves look like they're the victim. The best. Those are the best. The absolute the best people at creating victims out of innocent people are the ones that make themselves look like they're innocent. And every time they have done that to me, every time they use their best innocent, I'm just an innocent person not doing anything. Every time they do that, they get caught. It's like every single time, and it's just like, well, we got billions of people, and it's like, well, I only have so much time.
You wanted to see me, ma'am?
Yes, thanks for stopping by. I know you probably have your hands full.
I'm so happy you have
hoping I
billions.
could ask a favor.
I have a certain amount of time to live, right?
In my power.
I hope it is. See,
Yeah,
we've
but
had
if
many
you're
new
violating
arrivals
my
lately,
freedom
and that's great.
by
But it's
interfering
putting a
with
strain
the
on
time
our
that I have
supplies.
alive,
Any assistance
You're
you can give
violating
with
my pursuit of
securing more
happiness.
food and medicine would be much appreciated.
Of course.
And then, I know this might sound stupid, considering the situation out
look,
there.
in a
but
non-religious
if you could
person's
also look for
American life,
toys,
their time
Toys?
alive to use their rights is
For the
just
kids.
as important, if not more important, than the rights
plushies, building
themselves.
blocks,
Because the
crayons,
rights themselves
anything
wouldn't
that
be
can help brighten
important
their lives a
if
little.
we didn't have the time to
And also
exercise
writing
them.
materials.
So the rights
For the
are only
school.
as important as the
Paper,
exercise
pencils,
available
stuff
for
like
them to
that.
be used.
No need
I
to go
beat
out
you
of your
based
way.
on
Just bring back
the
anything you
legal
come across.
exercise of rights, not
It
the
can make a
existence
huge
of
difference
rights.
to the little ones.
The religious people want the existence
ma'am.
of rights.
I'm happy to
They
help.
don't want the exercising of rights. They want the existence of. They want the appearance of. They want the facade. They want the surface. They want the, they want the layer of iced lake that you can skate on while the water's underneath. I want a solid planet. I want planet Earth. I'm Captain. I'm Captain America. Wait, is it Planet America? Alright, let's go gather supplies for the settlement party. We got a party here. Alright. Supplies. Senpai party. I heard a really funny joke once, and it's an Asian joke, and I'm gonna say it because I like Asian people and I like the game. Asian gaming is like really tight in Korea and like China and like Japan and like Samsung, you know, and all that. So I'm gonna say this joke because it's funny, not because I don't like Asian people. But I was told a joke once that I thought was really funny, and it's like, what does an Asian person say when they walk out of the supply closet? Or how does it go? Or what does an Asian person say when they jump out of the supply closet? Something like supplies, supply. Okay, anyways, that's my so culturally insensitive joke for today's rdwingguy playthrough. I apologize to the Asian community for such a culturally insensitive joke. I know it hurts all your feelings so much, and I know you just hate it when I eat my food. Oh, you hate that so much. I'm kidding, I'm being sarcastic. To anybody who's offended by me or my content or the things that I've said, I just want you to know that it's not directed at you as a community, it's directed at you personally. So, just kidding. No, I really do try to create a comfy, cozy vibe. I really do. I really want it to be like that. I know people like my rage, rant, entertainer personality, and to a degree, you know, there's a good amount that, you know, there's things that deserve it, but I really am looking for cozy without cheating, you know, trying to like make things worse. I don't know. Anyways, words are things. This is the Animus. That's rdwingguy, and I'm high in the proclivitive sky all day, every day. No, seriously. You should just assume that I am using drugs from the moment I wake up till the time I go to bed. Because that's how awesome the future of proclivative life in America is. Because that's what's going to happen. You're going to have people under the influence of marijuana all the time. You know why? Because it's awesome, and it's legal, and it's cool, and it's not an excuse to do stupid things. And that's my final. Drugs are not, marijuana is not an excuse to do stupid things. If you're doing stupid things, it's not because of the marijuana. So just, okay. Have a good one. And I'll see you on Bad Robot. For like, we'll do like an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, something like that. Alright. Have a good one. Bye.